Welcome back to the Super Not Funny Show Reviews. And today I'm reviewing Reservation Dogs Season 3, Episode 5. It's entitled House Made of Bongs, and it's come to you from FX on Hulu. So, what did I think about it, and should you be watching? And before we get into the review, get down there, hit like on this video. Man, you know, a lot of people talk about filler episodes in shows. You know what? I want to start calling some of these episodes fill-in episodes, as in fill in the story and really kind of flesh it out a lot more. And that means for this particular episode, it's a blast to the past, if you will. We're going back to 1976. And the background, the story behind a group of people that we know in a much older form, because it's been almost 50 years since. It's a high school, and we see a group of friends. I guess this high school is also a dorm school or whatever like that. But we find the younger versions of some of our favorite characters: Bucky, Mabel, who, if you may know, passed away last season. That's Alora's grandmother. Linda, who is Cheese's found grandmother. And we also have Brownie, Uncle Brownie. But more importantly, and this episode's really kind of told from its perspective, we see a young Maximus, the old fellow that that Bear meets and befriends, and kind of has a bit of a tragic story in episode 2 of this season. As I said, this isn't just a filler episode; it's a fill-in episode, and one that I'm convinced has lots of threads and a kind of a long story thread that's tying back to what the younger Reservation Dogs, our main characters, are going through. It's you may find it weird that an entire episode is dedicated to not Bear or Cheese or Willie Jack or Alora. I get it, because in a way, Reservation Dogs has sort of morphed into not as much, it's about them, but it's also about everyone around them, and how all of their stories, again, are weaving in and out of each other, how the past informs the present, how things that were done or not done or, in the past have come to resonate into the present. And so this episode, it appears to be a slice of life thing, but it really does kind of do kind of more than that. I call this as Maximus's tragic origin story, where he's choosing to separate himself from his family because of a beef he has with his cousin Fixico. That's right, Fixico, who has been sitting out in front of the IHS, selling medicine, and whom Willie Jack is going to be hopefully apprenticing with. We see him as a young, a film buff and everything, not wanting to go home. Because he's got this beef with his cousin Fixico, and apparently is all over Mabel. Mabel, who I guess she's broken up with Fixico and is with him. And we also see that Brownie, he's graduated, he's left school, he's kind of working, but he's still hanging out with his friends, and they're all going, it's the last day of school, so they're all going out to the lake and out to the woods, and it's a big party. It's the 70s. Everyone's getting high and everything like that. And you might, halfway through this episode ask, like, well, what's this episode about? Like, what is it really about? And I want to say that this episode is really kind of examining, who was this guy before, how was Maximus before his break with reality, if you will, or was it a break with reality? As we see later on, near the end of the episode, what's his beef? Why does he have such a problem with Fixico, who clearly, wants to have, a better relationship with him? And it's resentment. He resents, Fixico is the preferred cousin. He's the favored son, if you will, of the family. He's been made a medicine man or trained to be a medicine man and everything like that. And he resents it. He resents the fact that, Fixico had his parents and everything like that, that he's sort of just seems to have everything going for him, and Maximus doesn't. And Maximus doesn't maybe want to be who he is anymore. He wants to change his name to Chaban instead of Maximus. But also, he really, he likes movies and everything like that. And he wants to kind of do more. But also, he wants to fit in. He wants everyone thinks he's cool. So, like, he says he's going to get some weed, but of course, he doesn't. He's kind of, awkward like that. He says he's done acid before. He hasn't, and he's sort of tripping. And I like this episode, again, for just kind of letting us know who these characters really are. We know Brownie and we know Bucky as older, kind of curmudgeonly, uncles. But it's good to see them as young guys, and what were they up to? Bucky was like, he had his mind in all sorts of kind of exotic math and physics and everything, and of course he was high and that sort of relating that to everything. And Linda was kind of a Indian rights activist, fight the power, that sort of thing, even down to the shades and the jacket and everything like that. And as they say, she wants to meet a guy that's got too long braids and everything. It was like, so we learned more about Cheese's grandmother as a young woman, and Uncle Brownie's just kind of like, he's just kind of happy being a welder and just kind of living, having ideas. They all have, ideas. They have goals. They have dreams. They're young people. Mabel wants to, have a big family, hopefully with Maximus. And in all of this, and all this slice of life thing, I'm keeping in the back of my mind that I know where these people are going. In 47 years, Mabel's going to be dead. And, Maximus is going to be in and out of institutions, and Brownie and Bucky have had a feud that just recently got, sort of, taken care of thanks to the Rez Dogs. And it's a little, I can't help but say it, just a little heartbreaking. Like, watching this episode, knowing where they're going and seeing where they're starting out, and how life is just kind of deal them a certain hand. And these are people, like, you see them as young people. One of the strengths of this show is that they introduce you to characters in one episode and make you care about them and give a damn about what's happening with them and like them and want to see the best for them. And it is more heartbreaking because that's not how it's going to work. Especially for Maximus. Again, this is his show. This is his episode. He finally has it out with his cousin Fixico, who, again, we know when we like Fixico. And to know that Fixico as an old man has this regret about this broken relationship that never gets mended. Because we know that Maximus is off doing his own thing far away from the Rez. It's tough seeing him try to bridge that gap and Maximus just kind of throw it away because he's hurt inside, and all the attempts of Fixico to try to fix it actually makes him push him away more. And I want to shout out to the director and the cinematographer for this particular scene, because young Fixico, he's a medicine man, and Maximus is like, oh, you think you're so great and all that. Everyone thinks you're so great and everything like that because you're a medicine man. And he calls him a poison man. But in that entire scene, you keep seeing this light artifact that essentially is a halo around Fixico, and he even says like you have a halo on. I thought that was a beautifully done bit of cinematography and storytelling to literally show that on screen. Loved that so much. And it all ends with them going on kind of an intoxicated ride where everyone falls asleep, talking about, their future and everything like that. And only Maximus is awake to stop and see the relatives, aka extraterrestrials, come down and sort of talk to him. And no one else sees it. And we see there at the very end of that episode, again, in a heartbreaking sort of ending, the genesis of the mental problems that Maximus is going to deal with for the next 50 years. That'll keep him in and out of is going to keep him in and out of institutions and dealing with the state. And we even start to see, the start of why the friendship unravels, because the rest of them won't acknowledge or accept that he had an experience that he couldn't explain but was real to him. And that, understanding that, knowing that, just makes this a very bittersweet episode, because I like the characters and I like what they were doing in this slice of life. And just knowing the future just makes this just a tough one to kind of take in. So, but that being said, I really loved the episode. I thought it was great. I thought it has really kind of filled out the story of this season. And I'm very interested to see, hopefully, where these threads go in the future. So, anyway, those are my thoughts on this episode. What did you guys think? And what did you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. And, of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, do me a favor, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps with this channel so that more people see these videos and helps us to grow. All right, thanks for joining me. Come back next week. We're going to be talking about episode 6 of Reservation Dogs. Until then, I've been Mo, your commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.